Hi everybody, welcome to this class. Today we are going to talk about comparing things. Okay, sorry. Okay, comparing things. Comparative adjectives. Before starting, I'm going to start with an activity that I'm going to give you some adjectives that we are going to use for the rest of the class. We have here some flashcards that we can say that elephant is big, this guy is boring, this rocket ship is fast, this is a fun party, this weight is heavy, the feather is light, the mouse is little, he is short, the snail is slow, he's strong, he's tall, he's weak. Okay. Comparative adjectives. When we have one syllable adjectives, normally we have to end it with ER. For example, we have old is gonna be older. We have cheap is gonna be cheaper. When we have two syllables, adjectives can have ER, especially ending in an stressed vowel. For example, narrow can be narrower. Clever, cleverer. Longer adjectives. When we have the longer adjectives, we are going to add more. For example, beautiful, more beautiful. Difficult, more difficult. Two-syllable adjectives ending in eng, ed, full, and less, we are going to add more at the beginning. For example, tired will be more tired. Boring will be more boring. And now we have the superlative adjectives. One syllable adjective normally have ending in est. For example, old, the oldest. But remember, you have to add the, and then at the end of the adjective, est. For example, cheap, the cheapest. Some two-syllable adjectives are similar. For example, narrow, the narrowest. Clever, the cleverest. Longer adjectives. Adjectives of 3 or more syllables have must. Beautiful, but remember, add the at the beginning. Beautiful, the most beautiful. Difficult, the most difficult. Two-syllable adjectives ending in eng, ed, full, and less. We are going to add most. Tired, don't forget the most tired. Boring, the most boring. Okay, in this opportunity, we have irregular forms. We have the adjective good, bad, and far. But these ones are not going to get the ending of ER or EST. So, for example, good. For comparative, it's gonna be better. And superlative is gonna be the best. Bad. Comparative worst and superlative were the worst. And far, comparative is gonna be farther and superlative is gonna be the fastest. Spelling tips. Adjectives ending in E, R, ST will be late, later, or superlative the laces. One vowel, one consonant. You have to double the consonant. For example, big. We have to double the last consonant and it's gonna be bigger, but you have to double the G. Will be B-I-G-G-E-R. Or superlative will be the biggest. Remember, double the last consonant. Adjectives ending in Y have I-E-R or I-A-E-S-T. For example, happy. We are going to change the Y for an I and will be happier, and superlative will be happiest. Some structures for equality. When we want to say that they are equal, we have to use as adjective plus as. For example, my cat is as old as your dog. Is a comparison of equality. But in equality, we have to use than. For example, your car runs faster than mine. Or this girl is less naughty than that boy. Okay, now let's go to practice. Okay. We have here 7 idioms reminding. And the first one is gonna be, I am space than my brother. Okay, so we find tall in different ways. But we are talking about comparatives of superlatives. So the first one is not going to work because doesn't have any of those structures. So the first one is not going to be. What about the third one? We add more. But remember, if it's a short comparative adjective, we cannot add more. We have to add ER. So the answer will be taller. Second, apples are space than grapes. Okay, we have 3 options. The second one, remember, is not going to be because it's an adjective without the structure of comparative or superlatives. So, and remember, this is a comparison of inequality. So we have bigger or bigger with only one G. But remember, if it's a short and it's a vowel and then a consonant, we have to double the last consonant and will be double G in this case. So the first is gonna be the answer. Okay, third, it was space yesterday than today. We have sunny, we have sunnier with Y, and we have sunnier with I. So remember, if an adjective finish with Y, we have to delete the Y and we have to change it for an I. So will be sunnier. Butterflies are space than flies. So we have the adjective beautiful and it's gonna be a comparison because we have the than. So we can say more beautiful. Remember, for long adjectives, we are not going to add at the end ER because that is for the short ones. For the longest ones, we have to use more in case of the comparatives of must in case of the superlatives. But in this case, it's a comparison. So remember, more for comparisons, and that's why it's gonna be the first one. Okay. Now we have, my brother is a space person in our family. So we are going to say that we are not doing here a comparison. So we are going to say that he's the only person that is noisy in this case. So remember, the first one is okay, but I told you before that you don't have to forget for superlatives, you don't have to forget the D. So it's clear that for this question is gonna be the first one. Okay, we have 2 idioms remaining. That's the space pizza I've ever eaten. So remember, we have the most good, we have the goodest, and we have the best. So I give you a little advice before that good is irregular. So we cannot say the most good because this one is not the right answer. So I think that for the superlatives of good, remember always you have to memorize this. It's gonna be the best. And finally, we have I think art is space subject. So we have the adjective difficult. And the first one, remember, we don't add, for superlatives, we don't add est at the end for long adjectives. So that is only for the short ones. And here we have the D for the second most difficult, but at the end doesn't have like the D or is wrong because we don't add est. So it's gonna be the second one. Okay, perfect. 100%. And now we have the quiz. This is the last part of our lesson. So let's do it. Okay, here we have to write type in what is the correct answer. Remember, I'm going to give you some advices. You have to pay attention to this. If it's gonna be a comparison, we are going to find the than. So my sister thinks cheese is a comparison. Remember. So we have intelligent. Intelligent is short or long. Okay, it's long. So remember, for comparisons, we are going to use more intelligent than me, but I don't agree. So second, we have avatar is probably, so is only, we are not doing a comparison here. We are doing a superlative thing. So avatar is probably bad, but remember, bad is irregular. So for superlatives, we have to use first the and then the correct form for saying bad in superlative is worst. So it's gonna be probably Avatar is probably the worst film I've seen. Okay, and now we have the third. What is, so here we have only one subject. It's gonna be a superlative. So what is the is a superlative. Remember, wet. What happened with wet? We have consonant, vowel, consonant. When we have this structure, we have to do like we have to double the last consonant, and this in this case is T. So we add the structure for the superlatives that is gonna be EST. Okay, so always when you find this kind of sentence, you have to look for the comparison, and if you are going to know if it's a comparison or superlative. But remember, we have Harry Potter, and we have films, and we have books. So we have good. But good is irregular. So it's not gonna have the at the beginning because it's not a superlative, it's a comparative. And what we have to do when it's a comparative for good is gonna be better. Okay, now we have only one subject here, and it's gonna be a superlative. So who is person in your country? We have powerful, and we know that powerful is a long adjective, so we are going to remember it's a superlative. Don't forget the D. Comparative doesn't have D, but superlative, yes, it has D, and then it's long. So for long adjectives, we add the most, and then the and then the adjective. And now we have, I think, Men in Black 1 was space, and then we have the adjective funny. Then Men in Black 3, we have two subjects, and we have the word that is the keyword that is then. It's a comparison. So it's a comparison. We don't have the, but we have funny, and finishes with a Y. So remember, with a Y, we have to change it for, oh, sorry. We have to change it for an I-E-R. So it's gonna be funnier. Is Angelina Jolie a space? We have the adjective O than Sandra Bullock. Remember, two subjects, one, and the keyword then. So it's gonna be a comparison. And is a regular, so we have to only add a comparison. To do the comparison is gonna be older. And finally, we have John is a space nice person than I know. So we have two subjects, John and I, and we have sorry, we have John is the nicest person because we have this one is gonna be a superlative. Sorry, because doesn't have the than, we have the that. So remember, happened to me. Than different to that. So if we don't have than, it's not a comparison. That is different. So it's the only person that I know. We have only one subject that is John. So we have to do a superlative thing. Let's see if this is correct. Yeah, well, sometimes it's not because we have to write it like the system says, but this is the correct form for all of those. Okay, thank you so much, everybody, for watching this class. If you have any questions, I'm going to give you my contact at the end of the recording. You can find all my information, and I have a classroom, a Google Classroom, so I'm going to post all the material there. Thank you, and see you next time.